This Shopify app helps cafes ditch the messy square Shopify split and finally run everything under one platform. But their homepage buried their messaging wedge under vague flexibility copy and 9 equal weight features. In this code jam, we tightened their messaging wedge around consolidation, pulled their killer feature modifiers to the top, and found a few easy social proof wins that could lift conversions really fast. Let's dive in.
Hi, I'm Adam Wooding, a co-founder of POS Cafe, which is an app for Shopify, which enables merchants that are either already on Shopify or looking to migrate to Shopify in the food and beverage space. So merchants that have a physical brick and mortar location that would like to sell their cafe or food and beverage products through Shopify. So our app enables that functionality. So things like modifiers and kitchen display screen integration and external receipt printers for order tickets and also online ordering, all the kinds of features and functionality that merchants in the cafe or food and beverage space need to run their business on Shopify point of sale.
I love it. Like the classic example of a very large niche within a niche, being kind of the Shopify apps, and then even site within that, within kind of the food and beverage space within that as well, which is very much underserved. How did you come up with the idea for POS Cafe?
We were my wife, who's also my co-founder. We also have a Shopify or e-commerce agency as well, and um, we've worked with a lot of businesses in Australia to help them to set up their online store and also their point of sale systems. And we were working with a merchant down south in Victoria, and they had asked us to help them out with setting up their online store and their point of sale. And then they decided that they would like to set up a little cafe inside their brick and mortar location. And they wanted to keep everything all on the one platform, keep using Shopify for their point of sale. They didn't want to have to set up another system to run their cafe on. And so they asked us to help them with setting up Shopify point of sale to run their cafe. And we just did a lot of research, and we investigated the different options available. And there was just really no good solutions for a business who wanted to run a cafe on Shopify point of sale. So it doesn't really handle things like modifiers and order tickets and all those kind of things that a cafe needs. So we saw an opportunity there to fill that need, and we decided to dive right into the deep end and build our first Shopify app to solve that problem. So that's where the idea came from, and we've had a lot of interest and already have a huge number of merchants on board. And so it really is something that is a big need out there in the Shopify ecosystem.
Yeah, I love it. And it sounds to me like knowing a little bit about the space just in general in terms of the Shopify ecosystem, because I have some experience in that industry as well, that like you just basically did the quintessential service business to app thing where you just saw something that your client already had a gigantic pain point of. Also, I'm just assuming very quickly early on realized, oh, this mashup between Square and Shopify don't really talk to each other very well, if at all, and then kind of solve that need. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Yes. We didn't want to create an integration with a different platform. We wanted to really utilize the core power of Shopify and build something that was really native to Shopify to empower those merchants.
Yeah, and I can imagine merchants, this could literally be the mom and pop one coffee shop to the cafe that has 5 to 10 or even 100 locations. What kind of, are you kind of seeing trends and types of who your ideal customer is? Is it kind of the mom and pop? Is it, the multi-location? Is it a mix of both?
It really is a mix of both. We've got merchants that are just a one small location or even just like a food van or pop-up kind of coffee shop, all the way through to really big merchants that have, very a lot of locations and really big brand names. So it's we've been really surprised that it's been used by such a wide variety of businesses.
Totally. And I can imagine from the positioning and messaging angle, which is kind of my lens, that it also creates some interesting challenges for how you position it on the homepage, because the mom and pop coffee shop with one location that is selling beans on Shopify, but then is also selling coffee, locally, has a very different goals and or needs than, the coffee shop that has 20 locations in 5 states or in 2 provinces.
Yeah, absolutely. That has definitely been really challenging.
Would you say though, like kind of the overarching kind of pain point across all is the wanting to consolidate everything under Shopify and not be so
Yes.
fragmented?
Yes, exactly. That is the number one. That's the number one goal. Yes, absolutely.
And I'm assuming, and I could be wrong here, but is kind of the key decision maker the owner operator, or is there literally a buying committee that comes into play for these multi-location?
That's a really good question. I think that we have usually worked with the team that is managing the actual cafe side of things for the bigger businesses. It's usually the team that's working on the cafe side. But I think that usually the decision comes from higher up with the person who's making that decision about wanting to consolidate everything under the one platform.
So it's usually going to be like the general manager or the owner.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
That would make sense. So the first thing I'm seeing is cafe flexibility for Shopify POS, empowering cafes, coffee shops, and restaurants to handle custom orders with ease and precision, built exclusively for Shopify POS. So kind of a duplicate there, install POS Cafe as kind of your CTO. One thing that's immediately standing out to me is you kind of said just very early on, and even just offline a bit as well, that you were kind of the main reason people are doing that is to consolidate everything under Shopify and not be fragmented. But that doesn't seem to be present above the fold.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. What was kind of your rationale behind leading with cafe flexibility?
I think that our reasoning behind going with that was because we're trying to go with the angle of targeting businesses that are looking for the cafe functionality on Shopify point of sale. So that was, I think, our initial angle that we were going for. But I definitely can see that we need to also incorporate a lot of that messaging around that consolidation of everything being able to be under the one platform.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
to
definitely
me feels like,
some.
oh, go on.
Oh no, sorry, I was going to say definitely some room for improvement there.
Yeah, I would definitely say like it's already good, but it almost sounds to me like what I would call and across a lot of these clarity jams, and even when I'm working with clients directly, I always like to call it a messaging wedge, which is what is that last thing someone is thinking before they sign up or download your app? And to me, it almost sounds like from what you've been saying, and I have to just go from your word here, is that consolidation piece and wanting everything under one roof. So I would lead with that in your H1 and within that subhead to make that so incredibly apparent. Like you can still have cafe functionality and you probably should still have that. But if you were to lead with that consolidation piece and also probably maybe even the time and cost savings that are tied to that, so they're not fragmented between 5 different systems that all don't talk to each other, that would almost instantly just make your number of signups that are already good go even stronger.
No, that's great. Thank you. I really appreciate that. We will absolutely work on that straight away.
Yeah. The other thing is I really like the screenshot, which is I'm assuming of your app. Is that accurate? The one
Yes.
thing I've kind of noticed, and I know you have a lot of merchants using this, the one thing that's glaringly apparent is I don't see any social proof or any sort of signal above the fold that you would normally see, and that's normally kind of designed up there. And I was wondering why that was the case. Like, have you thought about either putting logos or putting a testimonial or having like a row of 3 testimonials by the row of 3 because that converts better just directly either right below the hero section or ideally at the bottom of it. So people instantly say, no, hey, this is not some like fly by night Shopify app. We actually have a lot of serious merchants doing serious volume.
Yeah, that it's actually that is something that I have thought about and is on my to-do list. Haven't gotten to that yet, but I think it is actually something that is really important, and I think I definitely need that reminder to get that done ASAP as well.
Yeah, social proof is one of the simplest, quickest wins you can ever have to increase conversions on a homepage.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, another
Really
thing
good
that I
idea.
would
Thank you.
definitely look at is you have install POS being your CTA. One thing that you do
Hmm.
extremely well is that you actually have the same text within the navigation menu that you have in your hair section. Thank you for that. A lot of people do not do that, and that actually sounds super, super simple, but like can actually create micro friction if you have different CTA text across everything. My question
Mm-hmm.
to you though is are you doing a freemium model where you let people sign up for free or install it for free, or do you actually have to pay for it?
So no, it's all, we do have a free trial, but it's paid. We don't have any free plans. Free trial, which is 21 days, but it's paid plans from the get-go.
Yeah. In that case, you might want to think about saying, like, get started for free with POS
Hmm.
Cafe instead of install, just because it's a little bit more clear. Whereas install, to me, at least, and to a lot of others, might lead to open source or free versions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really good advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Thank you.
And then the other thing I was definitely thinking of is I like the screenshot. Something that might be potential is if you want to lean into something that could be your advantage that, for example, Shopify cannot do as easily, which is add some personality between yourself, and or if you have like any sort of like team members as well directly above the fold. Like something I've seen work extremely well is you're still kind of showcasing the app, but you're adding in like your voice as a co-founder in there, being like, hey, here's how this works, here's some examples. That can go a really long way to build trust and create even more signups a lot faster.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Do you have any examples of that type of thing?
Yeah, there's loads of them. And I almost would bet if you were to even just look in your category within kind of Shopify apps, you'll see so many examples, particularly of the ones that have hundreds or thousands or maybe even kind of load or even 10,000 plus apps within kind of the Shopify app system where you literally see someone in some cases as lo-fi as a Loom video that they, maybe make it a little bit more polished than something you would send to your teammate. Um, but isn't like crazy, like 6 month long explaining everything is. It's literally just them talking
Mm.
on a script, showcasing how the app runs.
Hmm. That's a great idea. Thank you. Fantastic.
And that builds a ton of trust really fast and also kind of makes it and just makes it way more likely that someone's going to sign up.
Hmm.
And also give you, and also oftentimes more likely to give you testimonials and feedback as well that you can utilize to increase conversions that much more. Plus, Oracle or IBM or Shopify kind of can't do that.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you. That's fantastic.
Awesome. So do you want to kind of scroll down to the next section where you have your
Yeah.
features? So walk me through kind of your initial process on how you came up with these 9 kind of core features or these 9 core value props.
These are just the main features and functionality and the problems that we're trying to solve with our app. So
Mhm.
things like the modifiers, which is the number one, that's something that Shopify does not offer at all out of the box. It's one of our core features that differentiates us. And then yeah, things like the prep areas and order tickets, all these things, they're just the key functionality that our app provides.
That's super interesting. So if like modifiers are like that kind of killer feature that it sounds like are tied to that kind of consolidation as well, why is that then one of 9 things that are given the same real estate as the other 8 features?
Great question. I'm not sure why I'm not sure, sorry, why we didn't highlight that more. Yeah, great question.
Yeah. And what is kind of that core pain point that having modifiers within POS Cafe um, does for these merchants? Like, what is that pain point that it's up?
So on Shopify, the way that Shopify approaches variations of a product, it's at the moment that it's quite limited. Merchants only have 3 option sets that they can create and a maximum of 100 variants. That is changing at the moment, but even still, the way that we have approached the modifiers and attaching those to those cafe items, it really makes it easy for merchants to make changes to modifiers, change prices or change options, all those kind of things. We've made it really easy and intuitive for them to create and manage those modifier sets.
Yeah. So basically it just makes it way more easy for their staff to be able to, and for them and their staff to be able to, keep everything organized and,
Exactly.
sell
Yeah,
more. I would
exactly.
lean into that, what you just said there, and make that be kind of a standalone feature right at the top, or like kind of
hmm
right in the section, and then maybe find the 2 other kind of core value props and do the same there, and then have your other kind of features be in the same sort of bundle. So therefore you're not, burying kind of that killer feature that is the
Mm.
one thing that they care about the most.
hmm No, I love that. Thank you. That's fantastic.
And then if you want to scroll down to the why POS cafe section.
hmm
So my initial
Yeah.
thing is, I like this, but I'm not sure if this is in the right place within their homepage to actually serve
Mm.
it. So like to me, this almost reads like, hey, this is kind of an introduction slash to the solution and why they're going to pick you over any other,
hmm
DIY thing they might come up with or any other competitor there is. Um, and the one thing that seems to be missing is you have the features, you have kind of the why. I could definitely maybe give some suggestions on how to make those 4 stand out a little bit more. So it reads as actually this is, something that could be on not only that is only could be on POS Cafe and not on any other competitor. Because right now, if you put those 4 bullet points together on another site, they wouldn't necessarily know that it's Europe instead of another Shopify POS app. But even before you kind
Yeah.
of get into that, the one thing that seems to be missing is what I would consider kind of usually you find it right after the hero section and some social proof. You'll have something that kind of paints to the core problem that you solve. So this is where you can kind of hammer that wedge even more, the messaging wedge even more, where it's like, hey, consolidate everything, make it easier to add modifiers and
hmm
things like that, and really hammer in that problem in the same way that you kind of think about copywriting frameworks like PASS, problem, agitate, solution. That's what you're kind of doing in that section that seems to not be in your homepage right now. So have you kind of maybe thought about creating a section that is what are this problem, where you're just hammering in that wedge even more?
mm
And then you go directly
hmm
into this YPOS cafe section, and then you go back into those features.
Yeah, I love that. An amazing idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that
That's
therefore you're not
fantastic.
therefore your homepage is now not just listing at features as a feature tab. It's actually giving a narrative that's walking through a really busy merchant who maybe has 1 cafe or has 10 or 100 or whatever it might be. And they're kind of getting the story and being able to kind of be persuaded where if they already know that they need you, they're just going to automatically go sign up. But if they don't,
Mhm.
they can just go skim through the problem section. Then they're seeing, okay, YPOS cafe, give them
hmm
3 sort of things about, customization, modifiers, consolidation, built specifically for Shopify, that sort of spiel. Now
hmm
you're going back into those features. Well, at that point, now after features, the next section that seems to be glaringly missing is add some more social proof. Do you have a case
Yes.
study? Do you have free testimonials? Do you have like a list of reviews in Shopify, which I know you already have? Um, can you post some of that in there so you have a section right after those features where you're just further reinforcing, hey, this is social proof. These are merchants just like me who are getting a ton of value from this. And then your pricing section is going to land way more fish.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I really appreciate that. That's wonderful advice.
Cool, awesome. And then if you want to scroll down to pricing, so I see something interesting here, which is 4 plans, not 3. Oh, well, I guess, well, you actually do have 3 and then you have enterprise. That actually makes sense. So ignore that piece of feedback. Overall, this seems normal and pretty standard, essential growth, expansion, and then enterprise all makes a lot of
hmm
sense. Maybe you might want to think about changing up that CTA again to be having it to be this. I like the fact that it is a theme tax across, that makes a ton of sense. But maybe add something that is, instead of having the install POS Cafe, be like get started, or create your account just so they naturally know that they're paying for this. And it's not like open source, but that's a nitpicking. Scroll down. Okay, cool. So now I see an awesome explainer video. Why is this buried below pricing instead of being on your homepage like we and the hero section, where in this case, in theory, it could even replace the section I had, which is narrate it yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the first things that I'll absolutely change. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And then scroll down. Cool. Built for Shopify. I feel like this is already implied. Maybe get rid of this section. It's already implied, or just, infuse it in the hero section. It's, yeah. And then the one thing that also seems to be missing, that is on pretty much every single homepage that converts really well, is adding in that final CTA. So instead of having it be acknowledgement, which you could still have, I would probably just tell you to move that into an about section, or like legalese and a terms and conditions. You just want to have like a final CTA where it's like, where it could be something like make it easier to sell across everywhere that you already are, and consolidate everything, something along those lines. And then just have that same sort of final CTA button right there, just so you're kind of capturing people before they click.
Fantastic. I love that. Thank you. That is great.
Awesome.
I just really appreciate that, because I think that everything that you said is really valuable and makes so much sense, and it's really helpful to have someone as a specialist in that area to have a look over that and make some suggestions. So I just really appreciate that. Thank you.
Totally. Like, you have all of the bones there, and you don't already in the hard part, product, a really good product market fit sort of thing. Making those kind of tweaks to make it be a little bit more of that narrative, leading with the wedge, adding in kind of calling in the problem, then kind of doing the wow moments, the features, and then adding in more social proof, and you're going to basically almost guaranteed to see a big lift in conversions.
Amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining Clarity Jams.
No, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I very, very much appreciate all of those incredible suggestions and improvements and things. So thank you so much.